It's lighting up everything everywhere when it rises. But it is not the crown of creation. Even though it sets in the heavens, the crown of creation always has to be on earth. Giving light to people, giving power to people, giving inspirations to people, directing people, correcting people, perfecting people, controlling the current events, bringing about Allah Almighty's will. Yes, they bring mercy, they bring warning, they bring wrath. They bring the good, they bring the evil. Allah sends it to them like He sends the sunlight from the sky on earth. We have very little understanding. Darkened hearts, mentally ill, physically ill, spiritually ill. We're like donkeys. Dead. It's an ever evolving lights. The sun never goes out. It rises here. When it sets somewhere else, it's rising somewhere else. Because it's being fed by lights. Where do you think where do you think the sun gets his light? If Allah, and this is why we don't think, if Allah is saying that the heavens and the earth cannot contain Him, do you think that the sun is taking its light from Allah Almighty? We don't know what we are. We see human beings like ourselves, and that's all we do, as we see another human being. We don't know that hidden in those human beings, Allah says, I hide my power under domes. In human beings, I hide that power. Somebody always has to be representing Allah Almighty on earth, whether we know them or not. In order for that sun to be rising and setting and having the different seasons and people born and people living and night and day, says Allah, says the heavens and earth cannot contain me, but the hearts of my believers can contain me. We don't have a clue. We don't have a clue, because those people who have a clue, they have an understanding, they have power. Yes, they are weak like everybody else, but with that power gives them power. We think we are going and doing on our own. How can we be going and doing on our own? We didn't create ourselves. We are still like that sperm drop that was in the loins of our Father, finding that egg, not on our own. Directed by a power that's over our will to direct us to the egg, the womb of our mother. Trillions of them coming. 1 or 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 hitting. Mostly one hitting. And here you are, a universe in a universe, and you begging creatures, creation for your sustenance. Unhappy dark faces, knowing only our names and where we live. To die only to wake up after dying. Begging Allah to come back because now I know. No. Try to listen and understand. When you listen with your heart, you begin to see your Lord, Allah Almighty, through yourself and through everything. But when you listen with your mind, you get nothing. You get nothing. And we remain as donkeys. We use our hearts. Allah Almighty is always sending inspirations to our hearts. We begin to recognize the fountains in which Allah Almighty sends to us to drink. We begin to recognize the direction that Allah wants us to go in. When we are confused or in doubts, this is curse. That's wrath. That means we're not going up. That means our knowledge is coming down. We're becoming less than animals. Illnesses fall on our minds, on our bodies, on our souls. Two reasons we're sick. We may be sick because Allah Almighty is testing us to see who we're going to turn to, who we're going to look to. Or we may be ill because of wrath, because of disobedience. See, things happen to all kinds of people. People have goodness and badness coming on them all the time. We have storms and rain and all kinds of different elements coming on us all the time. But we still continue to do and go where we need to go. It's the same thing when those difficulties come on us. How are we going to think about those difficulties when they come on us? And who are we going to look to when those difficulties come on us? We're so untrained and so undisciplined. And our children reflect us. If the parents are not disciplined, then the children, how can they be disciplined? How can they know if the parents are ignorant? Ignorance breeds ignorance. You only have to listen with your heart. But our hearts are closed. And so we only hear with our ears. And it goes in one ear and come out the other. And we still remain ignorant. They say ignorance is the bliss. That's a lie. Who told you that? There's nothing blissful about ignorance. This is what happened when the Moors conquered Spain. Instead of them listening to the guidance that was among those who were bringing about the Renaissance, they only took the material benefit and used the material benefit. And they left guidance. And when they left guidance, the whole society fell. Here we are in the West. Everything, the Renaissance that the Moors brought, that Islam brought to humanity, we only see the shell of it in the West. Everybody's running to the West for the pie in the sky, the promised land. That's why it has to be a change. Allah Almighty may have something hidden. It's in existence, but Allah hides it to test humanity. It's to see who was going to be the best in conduct.